In the ancient lands of Persia, where mountains meet deserts and rivers carve the earth, a boy was born who would one day change the course of history. He would rise to become not just a king, but a symbol of freedom, justice, and wisdom, Cyrus the Great. Unlike rulers who led through fear and oppression, Cyrus believed in fairness, respect, and the power of law. He united nations, built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen, and left a legacy that still echoes today. This is the story of a man whose vision and courage shaped the destiny of civilizations. Cyrus II, later known as Cyrus the Great, was born in Anshan, a city in what is now southern Iran. He was the son of Cambyses, a local king, and belonged to the royal family of Persia. From a very young age, Cyrus showed signs of intelligence, bravery, and leadership. According to legends, even at his birth, prophets predicted that he would grow up to unite lands and bring justice to people. As a child, he was fascinated by stories of kings and warriors. He spent hours learning how to ride horses, shoot arrows, and understand military strategy. But he was also curious about the people he would one day rule. He learned their languages, studied their customs, and observed how they lived. These lessons taught him that leadership is not just about strength, but about understanding and respecting others. Cyrus's childhood was also marked by challenges. Some stories say that his family faced threats from rivals who feared his future power. These early experiences shaped his courage and intelligence, teaching him to think carefully, act wisely, and never rely solely on force. As a young man, Cyrus began to rule the Persian lands. He started in Anshan, a small kingdom, but his ambitions stretched far beyond. He believed that Persia could be stronger and safer if its people were united. One of his first major achievements was defeating the Medes, a powerful kingdom in the north. At the time, the Medes were feared across the region, but Cyrus combined careful planning, clever diplomacy, and military skill. Some cities joined him willingly, impressed by his fairness, while others surrendered after realizing that his rule would be just and protective. Cyrus's victory over the Medes was a turning point. It gave him the power and confidence to expand his influence. But what set him apart from other conquerors was his method. He ruled not by fear, but by respect and justice. He allowed the kings and people he conquered to keep their customs and religions. This approach earned him loyalty and admiration, creating a strong and lasting foundation for what would become the Persian Empire. With the Medes under his control, Cyrus expanded his empire further. He conquered Lydia, a wealthy kingdom in the west, gaining control of major trade routes and cities. But perhaps his most famous conquest was Babylon, one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. Instead of attacking violently, Cyrus used a clever strategy and entered Babylon with minimal fighting. The people of the city welcomed him because he promised to respect their traditions and religious beliefs. One of his most famous acts was allowing the Jewish people, who had been exiled, to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. This act of tolerance and compassion made him renowned as a ruler who valued human rights long before the term existed. Cyrus's empire stretched across vast lands, from the Indus River in the east to the Mediterranean Sea in the west, covering thousands of miles. He ruled over many different peoples, languages, and cultures, yet he managed to maintain unity and peace. Cities flourished, trade grew, and people respected him not only as a king, but as a just leader. His army, though powerful, was disciplined and focused on protecting the empire rather than spreading fear. Cyrus was also a lawmaker. He established rules that protected his people, encouraged fairness, and reduced cruelty. He believed that a ruler's strength came from justice, wisdom, and the loyalty of the people, not only from the size of his army. This philosophy set a model for future leaders for centuries. Cyrus was not only a great leader on the battlefield, but also a man of vision and kindness. Stories tell of his generosity, patience, and respect for others. He listened to his advisors, learned from mistakes, and treated even enemies with fairness when possible. He valued education, knowledge, and culture, understanding that a strong empire needed more than armies. It needed people who were motivated and respected. He also had a personal side. He cared deeply for his family, his advisors, and his people. While he was a conqueror, he was never cruel for the sake of cruelty. This balance between strength and humanity is what made Cyrus truly exceptional. Cyrus the Great died while leading his army on a campaign far from home. Though his life ended on the battlefield, his influence lived on. The Persian Empire continued to grow under his successors, but the principles he established, justice, tolerance, and wise leadership, remain the foundation. Cyrus's legacy is remembered even today. He is celebrated not only as a conqueror, but as a ruler who valued freedom, respected people, and governed with fairness. His life shows that true greatness is measured not by the lands you take, but by the hearts you inspire. Thousands of years later, Cyrus the Great continues to be a symbol of courage, wisdom, and humanity, a timeless example of what a true leader can be.